Hey, I'm John Cannell. Today on Preppy Kitchen, we're making a delicious Stonefruit berry Dacquoise. So let's get started. First off, set your oven to 225 so it's nice and warm, and in the food processor, I'm adding 1 cup or 96 grams of blanched or slivered almonds. If you don't want to do this step, you could just use almond flour. When you use a food processor, oh my gosh, you get like nice little crunchy bits, and I just love the texture it adds. Okay. Pulse this up until they're nice and finely ground. There we go. This is finely ground, but compared to almond flour, we have a play of different sized pieces. That's gonna crunch in your mouth and pair perfectly with the meringue. If you haven't had a Dacquoise, it is amazing. Imagine layers of crunchy meringue, but a Dacquoise either has crunchy little almond pieces or little hazelnut pieces in there, and normally it's layered with whipped cream. You can have some berries in there, and today this one has meringue layers, French buttercream filled with fruit, more meringue, more French buttercream, more berries, and it's all topped with a cloud of whipped cream. It's so lovely. You're like, where's this dessert been all my life? This step's done. We're gonna grab our mixer out right now and make our meringue. This step might seem almost too simple to show, but it is crucial. So here's the deal. Crack your egg. We're going to unlock the magic inside. I want the yolks for the French buttercream. French buttercream is basically like a pipeable custard. It's the most amazing thing you've ever had. It's one of my favorite things on earth. In the meantime, we need these whites for the meringue. So 1 white at a time, I'm adding them in. This way, if a yolk breaks, which happens, then it's not gonna be a big deal. And I can definitely see any pieces of shell that get caught in here. And we're just gonna have a nice little conveyor belt. Some people have little gadgets. I like using my hands to separate the yolks out because my fingers are soft and it's not going to break the yolk. This goes there. This goes there. So we're not wasting any of these yolks. They're gonna make the most amazing French buttercream. This recipe is from the summer chapter of my book. I wanted to create a delicious, light recipe that's kind of refreshing and beautiful, that celebrates the flavors of the season. And for me, that means lots of stone fruit and berries. Kind of get them all year round most places, but they're not the same as a summer peach, for example. So while they're around, celebrate them, use them, and make delicious things. 1 more egg. Okay, if you have a copy of the book, open up to page 284 and bake along. 6 egg whites in the bowl. I'm gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This is an acid derived from the winemaking process, and it's going to stabilize our meringue. If you don't have this, I would go with 1/4 teaspoon of just like a white vinegar, or even lemon juice. To give some balance in this meringue, I'm gonna use just under 1/2 teaspoon, 3/8, so just like a very stingy 1/2 teaspoon of fine sea salt. In you go. Now it's time to whip this up, and at the ready, you should have a cup of super fine or caster sugar. This has a finer grain size, and it's gonna mix in really well. If you only have granulated sugar at home, I would pulse it in your food processor just to break it up, or go to the store and get some superfine sugar. It makes a big difference, and that's 200 grams. Have a tablespoon ready because we're gonna add in the sugar bit by bit, very slowly. Work on medium. Let the eggs get nice and frothy and break up those whites a bit, and then we'll start adding the sugar in. This is the step where your meringue can be glossy, marshmallowy, and amazing, or kind of like gritty and just not super puffy. You want to add the sugar slow. My whites are frothed up. Start adding your sugar in. Casually, leisurely pace. Little cascade or a drizzle of sugar. And if you're like, this seems like a lot of work, I don't know if I want to do this. 1, it's totally worth it. This is gonna change your life. But 2, you can stage this out. I could make these meringues the day before. They could just hang out in the oven, nice and dry, cooling down. And then you make the French buttercream even 2 days ahead. So you can make this at different days, and then you assemble it right before serving. And the assembly is actually really fun. Last, the sugar goes in. Your mixer's gonna run for maybe 8 minutes or so. It kind of depends on how fast it is. Medium is not the same for every single mixer. So running around medium, medium-high, about 8 minutes or until you have stiff, glossy peaks. I wanna show you where we're at right now. I just finished drizzling the sugar in, and I have these kind of marshmallow fluff that was melted. And that looks great. It has a nice glossy texture because I added the sugar in so slowly. But you know what? It needs to whip for a lot longer. So we're gonna whip this, let it get nice and stiff, and I'll show you what that looks like. While this is mixing up, grab 2 rimmed baking sheets, 2 pieces of parchment paper, and an 8-inch circle, and a pencil. That's your assignment. Today's video is sponsored by Mr. Black Cold Brew Coffee Liqueur. It's the perfect ingredient to make a delicious, refreshing espresso martini. My Dacquoise cake is gonna come together in no time. The finishing touch for this wonderful outdoor brunch is gonna be a round of espresso martinis. I'm gonna make a big batch. It's gonna be so good. First off, grab a cocktail shaker. I'm gonna fill it with a couple handfuls of ice. And now for some big, bold coffee flavor, I'm using 1.5 ounces of Mr. Black Cold Brew Coffee Liqueur. When I tried this, I was so blown away by the coffee flavor. They use 100% Arabica beans. It's specialty coffee grade, and they cold brew it. And when you do that, it's gonna give you less bitterness, a big coffee flavor, and it'll be overall nice and smooth. We also need 1/2 ounce of vodka. I'm using some Ketel One right into your shaker. I brewed some fresh espresso. I want 1 ounce. Pop the top on, and now the only thing you have to do is give it a hard shake. Pop your strainer on, pour that into your coupe glass. Give it just a second so the head builds, and it'll support a few dainty little coffee beans right on top. Just like that, your espresso martini is ready to enjoy. By the way, Mr. Black's available across the US. I've added a link in the description box below so you can find out where to get a bottle and make your own delicious cocktail. Cheers, and now let's get back to the recipe. It's very handy if you have an 8-inch cake pan. One sheet will have 2 circles. Make sure you flop it over so that we don't have any graphite in our dessert. All right, you've got to see this. You can tell, first of all, that it's getting to that point because the meringue is gonna be kind of stuck inside of the whisk. That's gorgeous. It's like a little Who mountain. So it's a very stiff, marshmallowy peak. You can feel how thick it is by the resistance when you pop the whisk back in. It's crazy. This is a beautiful French meringue. We are going to add just a little bit of almond extract to kind of like celebrate almonds because we're adding those into the meringue as well. If you do not like almond extract for some reason, you could use vanilla, but I really enjoy it. You just can't use too much because it's strong. Perfect. Just a few seconds to stir it in. Now we have our delicious meringue. We have our amazing almonds. We're gonna add half of the almonds in and fold them in. So fold them in 2 batches. I'm gonna add about half of the almonds right on top. Sprinkle, sprinkle. So now we're gonna fold it in. So just fold that in, be gentle. Oh my gosh, this is actually like a giant marshmallow. It's so strong. Some people think, and it's like a very specific set of people because not that many people do this, but some people think that Italian meringue or Swiss meringue are like completely different from a French meringue, when in fact, the end result of what you get, like a silky, strong, beautiful meringue, can be the same as long as you make French meringue correctly. I'm gonna fold the remaining almond pieces in. So add the rest of the almonds. Oh my gosh, I am so excited because I love meringue. It's so like crunchy and light. By the way, if you're like, ugh, I don't like almonds, you could use hazelnuts in this as well. It'd be the same process. Just make sure they're nice and processed, finely ground, and then fold them in. And you don't have to use the almond extract. You could use vanilla or hazelnut extract if you can find it. Look at that. Look at that stiff peak. It still has the peaks. That was some nice folding there. Okay, so now we're gonna fill our piping bag up. Don't try and get this all into one piping bag. Do it in a couple batches because it's such a nightmare if you overfill a piping bag. Snip about 1 inch off of the piping bag's tip. I get up at approximately 5:08 every day so I can have the kids lunch already and make breakfast and stuff, which I actually enjoy. I like waking up early, but sometimes I'm not the most cogent for these YouTube videos. So now it's time to pipe our discs. Don't worry about them looking perfect. You're gonna smooth the tops out, and this isn't like a fancy piped disc. It's just a plain rustic disc of meringue. I'm gonna hold the paper. If you don't wanna do that, you could add little dollops of meringue underneath as glue. I'm gonna make my discs and eyeball it, and if there's any extra, I'll just kind of pipe it on top so they're roughly the same height. That one's done. Now it's time for these guys. Discs are piped. There's just a little bit extra here, so I'm gonna add that to my first one because it seems a bit flatter than the rest. Get a little spatula, and we're just gonna smooth the tops just so they're nice and even. Look at those beautiful almonds in here. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited by this dessert. These look great. It's time to pop these into the oven, 225 for 2 to 2.5 hours, or until the center's dry to the touch. Then they stay in the oven to continue drying out with the door closed for at least 3 hours, up to overnight. In you go. Grab a medium pot, fill it with about 2 inches of water, and we're gonna bring this to a boil over medium-high to high heat. There we go. While our meringue's baking, we're gonna make this silky, amazing custard-like French buttercream. It's a couple simple ingredients, starting with 180 grams or 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. I also want 8 egg yolks, that's the 6 I had from before, plus 2 more. And in the book, I have half of a scraped vanilla bean. You could use 2 teaspoons of vanilla bean paste. I ran out of both, so I'm gonna use some of my homemade vanilla. 2 teaspoons as well. My scale is done. I'm gonna give this a whisk just so it comes together. You can see the color is amazing. I love the color of French buttercream. Anyways, this is nice and whisked up, but I want you to take a look. The color is great, but it's very runny, and if I take a little bit between my fingers, super grainy. All I feel are tons of little sugar grains. That's not cool. So we're gonna cook this, have a spatula handy, we're gonna be stirring, 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 and if you have a thermometer, bring that along too. Reduce to a simmer. So I'm stirring, I have my little thermometer out, and I'm in the 80s right now, so I've got a ways to go. You should be at like 160, maybe a little bit less. You just want to keep it moving because anything that settles has the potential for like congealing and becoming hard. And this should be silky smooth, not like rubbery. While I have your attention, you'll want a cup plus 5 tablespoons. That's just under 300 grams of nice soft butter. If you don't have the European style, you can use regular butter. It will definitely work. This just has like a lovely flavor and it's higher in butter fat. And the color is nice too, so it'll be extra yellow. In this dessert, we have those crunchy, light meringue discs. And by the way, when they're in the oven, because yours are probably in the oven right now, if you're baking along with me, they're gonna look a little gnarly. This is not like a pavlova or some other piped dessert from Instagram. This is a delicious dessert. It'll look nice in the assembly, but those discs are gonna look very rustic and they will deflate a bit. So don't worry about that if it happens. I'm at 160. You can see it's silky smooth, and look at that. It is like glossy. You can't see any sugar anymore. So it's cooked through, the sugar's gone. It's time to pop it onto your mixer with a whisk attachment. Don't waste any of this yolk mixture, it's all precious. Now, just like in other kinds of meringue-based buttercreams, we're gonna mix this on medium to medium-high until it's stiff, it has a lot more body, and it's not hot anyways. It's 160 degrees. We want it to be in the 80s to 70s. So you want it to be like just a little bit warm to the touch to room temperature. Let it mix away. It'll be about 7 or 10 minutes. While this mixes, just make sure you have all of your butter accounted for and it's soft and room temperature. You don't want ice cold pieces of butter. My mixture is still a bit warm, but I want to show you the amazing transformation that came just from whipping it. So you have a much thicker, really light yellow colored, almost marshmallowy mixture, and it's really on its way. It's not gonna get much thicker than that, but it needs to cool down a bit more. So keep whipping, and when it's more room temperature-y, it's time for the butter. My egg yolks are not hot anymore. They're nice at room temperature. They're nice and stiff, and most importantly, they're gathering around the beater. That's the final cue that lets me know it's ready for butter. Keep your mixer on medium, and now we're gonna add the butter 1 tablespoon at a time. You don't wanna overwhelm the mixture with butter, because while butter is delicious, it's gonna turn this into a soup. So just be prepared for that. It's not gonna be like, oh, it's a magical, amazing thing. It's gonna look horrible to begin with, and then it'll come together just at the very end. So the important thing is to keep adding the butter and don't stop. It's not gonna fix itself until all the butter is gone. Just let the butter disappear before you add the next piece. If you're not using salted butter like I am, go ahead and just add in 1/4 teaspoon right now, give it a taste, and then you can keep adding a little bit, like a sprinkle at a time, just until it has the right balance. I'm towards the end of my butter addition, and I want to show you it's coming together. This is so nice, my little butter baby. So now it's starting to look like a buttercream. Up until this point, it's been a beautiful yellow soup. So just have faith and it'll come together. My final piece of butter is going in. As soon as that's nicely mixed in, you can scrape the bowl down once if you want, and then it's time to pop this into a piping bag fitted with an open star tip or anything you think is gonna be really pretty. It just has to be like the right size. Oh my gosh. Look at this amazing. It's so good it should be a crime. A crime, I tell you, a French crime. I have a big piping bag fitted with a star tip. It's an 846, but use your favorite. And we're gonna transfer this silky, soft mixture into the fridge, and it's just gonna chill and hang out. This is a softer buttercream than you might be used to, and you can pipe it cold. So it'll make it much easier to assemble, take a lot of stress out, and you can make this in advance and not worry about it. This with the crunchy meringue and those amazing fruits all throughout with a little whipped cream on top, it's gonna be heaven. It's gonna be amazing. When I was choosing recipes for the book, I wanted to have things that celebrated the season. So this is a summery, light, amazing recipe with all those fruits, but I also just wanted to have like my favorite things. This recipe has everything I love on one platter, and it's so good. I'm really excited to share this with you. This goes into the fridge, and our next step is to assemble everything. Our discs are out of the oven. They're completely dry, and I love the swirls on the bottom. Even though no one's gonna see that, we can appreciate it for a moment. Grab a flat cake plate. If it's too concave, your Dacquoise will shatter when you try and cut it, which is just annoying. And as you can see, I have an assortment of stone fruits. You really only need like 1 peach, 1 plum, a plucot, a nectarine. You can get like maybe 2 to 4 stone fruits depending on the size. And a cup or so of berries. Get whatever is best in season at the moment, like you go to the market. If it's amazing plums, use those in this dessert. I found a nice assortment at my market, so I kind of went crazy. The rest will be for my kids' snacks and for snacking on myself. You find whatever is best at the market and use it in this dessert. If the peaches aren't great, go with the apricots. If the apricots are mealy, nectarines it is. They'll all be delicious. I've washed, pitted, and sliced a good number of stone fruit. The number's dwindling, so I keep snacking. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon of fresh lemon juice on top. This adds a little bit of zing and also prevents browning. So let's give it a toss. Lovely. Now it's time to assemble. Let's say you made your French buttercream way in advance and it's been in the fridge. It's gonna come out hard as a rock. Don't panic, just pop it into a bowl. You can cut it to pieces if it's an actual log. And then mix, 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 it'll wake back up. It's just gonna take a few minutes, but mixing it is going to bring it back to life and soften the butter. I mention this because it happened to me. Sometimes you just get busy and all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's been many hours and that has been chilling in the fridge for too long. Now it's time for the fun part. We are going to pipe up a storm. Cover your discs completely in little stars of buttercream. It's gonna be 2 things, delicious and structural. It'll help hold the cake together, and it's gonna be a custardy amazing bite. Look how beautiful and glossy that is. A few minutes ago, it was rock hard, so this works. Now we're gonna scatter some berries over the top. You can be strategic and scatter some at the edge so they're visible. Now we're gonna add some fruit right into the middle, try and get the pretty parts poking out. That looks nice. Now we're just gonna add the next layer on. Plop, Snapping's okay, don't worry about it. When you cut this, it's gonna be a bit of a train wreck. I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna have beautiful, amazing cuts, but the taste is beyond delicious, so go with the flow. Continue adding dollops. All right, finish this off and make sure to leave some space for the fruit to hang out. Add the final layer on. Ooh, so pretty. Adding the final row of dollops, and by the way, if your buttercream gets too warm, just pop it right back into the fridge for a few minutes and it'll be right as rain. Using all the buttercream, any last bit can go right in the middle. Now we're gonna spoon on a heaping amount of whipped cream. This was a cup of cold heavy cream with 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and you can add vanilla or whatever flavoring you'd like. This color doesn't even look real, it's so crazy. Give it a couple swoops and your Stonefruit Dacquoise is ready to enjoy. I am so proud of cutting this piece. Crisp meringue, beautiful silky French buttercream with all that fruit and a ton of whipped cream on top. The nuts toasted in the meringue are just crunchy perfection with that silky custard-like buttercream, mound of whipped cream on top of that, and all of that bright, amazing fruit. I hope you get a chance to make this delicious recipe from my book, and if you like this video, check out my book playlist.